Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our Spring Allergies 2023 Awareness of the Season call. I'm so pleased to join you along with Dolphin, Judy, Tim, and Cheryl, where we'll be sharing with you guys a little bit of information about spring allergies and this wonderful season of spring we're in. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody this is actually the fourth training call we've done in this wonderful season of spring. The first one was our spring wellness and wood element call, where we talked very generally about the season and the wood element specifically. Another one was Dolphin sharing with us a wonderful spring detox and cleansing ideas and some of the Sunrider foods that helped us to do so. The third one was our Earth Day call, where we talked about green spring cleaning. And again, some of the things that we'll talk about today a little bit will tie into that call too. But again, folks, this is what we're trying to do every single season for you guys, is provide hopefully very topical and relevant training associated with the season. So let's kind of jump right into this if we can. Again, before we get started, like with all Sunrider calls, because we're going to be talking about Sunrider foods, we want to remind everybody that none of the information provided in this presentation is intended to represent a diagnosis or cure of any illness or disease. Now, again, because we're talking a little bit about Sunrider, for anybody brand new listening to this call, we just want to share with you a little bit about why Sunrider should be your choice. First of all, Sunrider's been around for over 40 years in existence. That's really unusual in our industry, where a lot of companies come, they're here overnight, and they're gone the next day. Sunrider's been around for over 40 years and has just recently invested millions of dollars in a 1 million square foot manufacturing facility in Dallas, Texas area to prepare us for the next 40 years in our future. Sunrider has been around and operates in over 50 countries around the globe, which I've said many times is one of my favorite parts about Sunrider, being able to work in other countries with other people, getting to experience other cultures, foods, etc. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for any of us that choose to do so. Something else that's truly unique about Sunrider is Sunrider internally handles all the research, development, and manufacturing of their products. Now, again, folks, why that's so important is most companies will simply hand a third party a recipe and say, go make my product for me. That's not the case in Sunrider. Again, it's so important, I'm going to repeat it. Sunrider internally handles all of the research, development, and manufacturing of over 400 of the world's finest health, wellness, and beauty products. Everything from whole food nutritionals to cleansing beverages to weight management to sports and fitness to green household and all natural skincare and cosmetics. Folks, if you ever thought about if you were in the right place at the right time, this is certainly it. Now, before we get into our real meat of this thing, I'd like to kind of turn to Dolphin for a second. And Dolphin, maybe you can explain to us a little bit about some of the reasons why many of us are so allergic right now.
Thanks, Mac. I think it's really important that you just mentioned how we do our own manufacturing, and that is so key when you're looking at picking supplements, your food, like where is it coming from? And even in health food stores, in supplements, we can find a lot of these not so healthy ingredients and products in the actual products. So the list here, any kind of an isolate, once you isolate a protein, whether it's soy protein, whey protein, an isolate is not a whole food. So your body does not know what to do with it. So again, just can then create a lot of inflammation in the body. Fructose in a fruit is fine. There's actually very little actual fructose in fruit if you actually just ate an apple, for example. However, if you read labels, you'll see how things are sweetened. And as soon as you see a fructose, or even worse, fructose glucose combination, again, I like to call it Frankenfood, right? Frankenstein food, man-made, very difficult to metabolize, and fructose has to be metabolized by the liver. And so what that can do is create fatty deposits. If you're eating a lot of fructose, can create fatty deposits in the liver. Again, not ideal for the liver. Vegetable fats, again, this is a little general, so I wouldn't say all vegetable fats are bad, but definitely more of the grain type vegetable fats, your canola, your safflower, your sunflower. These ones are really high in omega-6. So that's really what we want to kind of stay away from, is more of the molecular structure of what's in that fat. And so omega-6 is, again, a very inflammatory food or ingredients. So we want to increase more of our omega-3s or omega-9s and decrease those omega-6s. So avocado oil is great, olive oil is great. So not all vegetable fats are bad. So you just want to, you could even just Google, like, you know, what oils are high in omega-3 rather than omega-6. And then we have some ingredients here, maltodextrin, aflatoxins. So maltodextrin is a flavor enhancer and typically comes from GMO corn. So we didn't even put on GMOs here. Like, we want to stay away from anything GMO, genetically modified, because again, it's this Frankenstein food. It's man-made. It's not whole food. Our bodies don't know how to really recognize it and process it properly. So, here's what's so wonderful about knowing your company. For example, we know in Sunrider, we know the ingredients that are used. So it's not always even just what's the, you know, if it says maltodextrin, for example, okay, well, what's the source of that? And again, most companies are going to use something cheap, like a GMO corn. There's one that's not listed here, which is another flavor enhancer, is citric acid. And in the old days, it used to be citrus, right? Lemon, but now they're using mold to grow citric acid on. So again, I started reading labels on just, you know, typical foods that I pull off the shelf, and citric acid, and I'm like, how do I know what's the source of this citric acid? So it's beneficial to know your company, what you're buying from. And unfortunately, so many healthy companies have been bought out by multinationals. So it really is, you know, grow your own food, and or, you know, a company like Sunrider that you can trust. Aflatoxins, that is a fungus, a mold. So again, not great. That can be washed off of foods. And MSG, we're all familiar with that, flavor enhancer, not good for our bodies. And so what happens is then it creates all this inflammation, and it comes out as mucus and immune response. So that's, you know, when we think we're allergic, it's probably from something that we're eating very often. So those are just some of the things we want to stay away from, or research a little more. Read your labels, read your labels, read your labels. Cheryl, I'm going to pass it on to you now.
Thank you so much, Finn. That was very informative. Anyway, we have a lot of struggles every year. Millions of North Americans suffer from hay fever, sinus symptoms, and it's caused by all the outdoor pollutants and indoor pollutants too, and the pollens and the mold spores. And 23 to 30% of North Americans have a genetics to make allergic immune reactions to airborne pollens and molds, but the rest of the population don't have that genetic disposition. So they don't really experience the allergic symptoms when they inhale these pollens and molds. And some of those of us who are allergic and have these reactions, Sunrider has excellent foods for our respiratory system. And you need to keep in mind with Sunrider foods that they're so multi-purpose that one product doesn't do one thing, and that our body is very wise. And so when we take in these foods, the body takes care of what's most important first. And our allergies may be lower on the scale. So you have to be patient and let the body do its work, because it's the body that's going to take care of these things. And I remember back when I started Sunrider 35 years ago, my sister-in-law and her sister had the most serious allergies I've ever seen. And I thought, oh boy, I can really help them with these allergies. So I introduced them to some of these foods, and in a day or so, I get a call back. My allergies are worse. What's going on? And I said, patience, your body is taking care of other things, and then it'll get to your allergies. Well, that was 35 years ago. And they are now pretty much allergy free all these years, and they love our Sunrider foods. So here's some suggestions that I have for our wonderful respiratory system. First of all, our quinary. Now, Sunrider is based on the philosophy of regeneration, which means that we need to take responsibility for our health. Like Finn was saying, we need to feed the body good whole foods, and herbal foods as well, that feed the systems and feed the cells and give the body a good cleansing inside. So Sunrider foods do just that. And quinary, which is a totally unique product, quinary meaning 5, it has over 50 different herbs in it that are perfectly combined to nourish the 5 major systems of our body, which are our immune, circulation, endocrine, digestion, respiratory. And one of the products specifically for our respiratory system that's in the quinary is Conco. So we want to feed all the 5 systems to keep them all strong. But Conco, for those of us that suffer from allergies or challenges with our respiratory system, is the one that we want to do more of. So, our respiratory system consists of the larynx, our throat. I mean, there's just so many parts to our respiratory system. And Conco, the way the herbs are combined, it addresses all of those different parts of our immune system as well. And that's what I was saying. Our products are multi-purpose. So you're not only taking care of your respiratory system, but some of the herbs in there also help the immune system. And the respiratory system is the first line of defense for our body. It takes care of any of those free radicals that want to jump in. And so eating more Conco in those times is really, really important. Now, also, I was talking about the immune system, which we're going to talk more about, but one of my favorite products for the immune system, which a lot of people don't really think about, is our Vitadophilus, which is acidophilus culture. And this is like billions of friendly bacteria. And what do our friendly bacteria do? They take care of those bad guys, those free radicals that want to cause these allergies and problems with our immune system. It's covered in apopectin, which no other product out there is. And so that protects it. So when it gets into the stomach, the Vitadophilus and all the billions of bacteria get to go to work full force instead of being destroyed by the stomach acid. It's delicious. It comes in these little packages. I just put it in my mouth, hold it under my tongue, and then swallow it. And it's just yummy. I absolutely love it. Now, the piece de resistance for our respiratory system. My favorite product of all time is our Sunbreeze oil. Now, I have it in my diffusers around the house, so it keeps the air nice and fresh and clean. But Sunbreeze is an awesome tool that you can carry with you. It's so convenient. It's safe. It's an essential oil. It's the only essential oil I use. And I usually like to just put a little dab under my tongue before I go to sleep at night. And it's like sleeping out in the fresh air. It's so wonderful. So if you have like congestion and the allergies from the respiratory system, just by putting a little bit under your nose, it frees up your sinuses. Or you could add a little bit to your cream and rub it on your chest. And, so that will take care of any congestion that's happening in the chest. But if you have any kind of situations, if you rub Sunbreeze on, it is called Sunbreeze because it goes warm if you need warm, cool if you need cool. So it totally relaxes and soothes any of those challenges that you've got going on. So we have these awesome tools for the respiratory system. And I'm going to turn it over now to Tim, because he's going to add more of these wonderful products to help you with your challenges.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. Informative as always. Also, Finn and Mac. Good day, everyone. Here, I'm going to talk a little bit about skin and some of the things around our homes that we can just improve upon, and that Sunrider has made available for us to do just that. And for starters, is cleaning your home. One of the things you want to do is get rid of allergens in the homes, things that may be readily affecting you. And we like to go with, we have Sunrider's cleaning products, which is Sunbright Super Clean, household and laundry. And from personal experience, I've mentioned this in the past, but I have great confidence. And again, this is a citrus-based cleaners. That mild acidity that comes with citrus that naturally cleans, and it smells great, and it really does such a good job. My clients, for example, when I use Sunbright laundry, they always talk to me about how nice the sheets smell, but that's great that they get their little bonus. But I have the confidence of knowing that they're not going to have a reaction to whatever ingredients that are in the soap that might affect them. And the super clean household, again, great for just for again having that confidence to know that that you're using a product that doesn't have any harsh chemicals or things that are just going to be hard on the body. And again, after you're done, it's such a lift to your whole place. It sure is for mine. And now we're going to go from the outside to the inside for a while, and we're healthy.
Oh.
Is our respiratory, but the other first level of defense is your skin, and your skin has a sebum, or is the first layer that before anything from pathogens, nasty bacteria, viruses. I mean, not to mention the sebum.
Oh.
Internet issues.
Oh, okay, we got a few technical difficulties. We'll see if we can speak through. Is everything still okay there, Mac, on your end? Okay, we will proceed. So healthy skin is an inside job.
Tim, we're losing you.
How I know my connection's good, everything's good. Still coming in.
You're
Now-
back to us now.
Okay, I'll see if we can get this to go. It's out of my hands to the tech gods out there. Okay. So we're going to ask for a little divine intervention. Help with this stream right now. Thank you very much. It's all going to be good. So again, healthy.
Hey, Tim, we're going to go to plan B if that's okay,
Yes.
buddy, because of these Wi-Fi issues.
Okay, no problem.
I think where Tim was taking us was into these other great products we have up here, Evergreen, Vitafruit, Spirulina in particular, all very green products. Hadn't planned on touching on this one, but I'll just jump in with my little testimony here. I know because I've been posting a lot recently about how we can help our skin both from the inside and the outside. And one of the products I focused on was Vitafruit, mainly because of a key highlight ingredient called sea buckthorn fruit, which is very high in antioxidants and actually will help to nourish the skin both from the inside and on the outside. I use Vitafruit. It nourishes from the inside. Sea buckthorn fruit is also an ingredient that's in many of our topical Sunrider skincare products as well. So again, all of these are wonderful. K-Pure, I just want to finish off on this section real quick. One of my favorite skincare regimens of all time. Okay. I've been using Sunrider skincare for a long time. Typically, like a lot of guys, I mean, I would use the beauty bar, maybe a little bit of specialty skincare at night if I remembered to do so. But once I discovered K-Pure, that totally changed everything. An incredible 4-step process, all vegan, all natural, so gentle to the skin, okay, which really ties into what we're talking about here, allergies impacting our skin, our eyes, and our ears. Tim, if you're back on with us, did you have any parting comments on this slide since I jumped in on you?
Just a little bit about the spirulina. That was a great touch on on Vitafruit. Thank you for that. Actually, just perfect. But just to touch briefly on evergreen and spirulina, very rich iron-based, great for raising your hemoglobin and oxygenating the blood. To oxygenate our blood, so when we have the proper amount of oxygen, yes, everything recovers, but it also keeps the pathways open for us being able to eliminate toxins. How's that? Is that we fit it in there without cracking up? Excellent. Anyway, and just a quick touch upon all the Candescent products, everything hypoallergenic, anything you put on your skin. I mean, I love Candescent just because it's a healthy environment for healthy skin. And from that, I'm just going to take it right on to Judy, and she's got a few things to add around the foods that we like to munch on.
Excellent.
Great. Thank you so much, Tim. You know, a few years back, there was a song that tried to convince us it's all about the base, but I'm here to tell you that's wrong. It's all about the gut. Gut is where we process all our foods.
It's all
And oh, there you go, Tim. Well, we're talking about our lower digestive system, our colon, our small intestine, where the real activity truly begins, because not only does it need to process the good, but it needs to separate the not so good and get it ready for the garbage dump disposal. Now, you can see if all works well, that's a great system. We're wonderfully made. However, you can see the problem if we're not taking enough of the good foods in, then our body might be forced to use some of the not so desirable foods and try to make that into something. So there we start creating the problem. This in time can lead to all sorts of things, such as leaky gut syndrome, where undigested food can actually leak out of the colon. There's things like we've all heard of colitis, Crohn's, all these different diverticulitis, all these things that can start happening the longer the situation goes on. So hopefully this information will help and before that happens. So first let's talk about some of the foods that would contribute to some of those situations. We see them listed here. First thing, dairy, cow's milk. It's so interesting. Just recently, believe it or not, doctors and scientists have discovered cow's milk is for calves and human milk is for human babies. And so while there is tremendous nutrition, some people tout the calcium content, it still isn't in the proportions that are best utilized by humans. Now, some people drink their 3 glasses of milk a day or whatever they are and feel it makes them stronger and healthier. So it's not one size fits all. However, it's interesting to note that most of us don't have access to fresh, clean cow's milk, which does have the nutrition. But because of all the bacteria and processing and everything, it's homogenized, pasteurized. It's not as it comes out of the cow. Now, it tastes wonderful if you've ever had truly fresh milk. I had that opportunity once, and guess what? I got the worst case of pink eye I've ever had in my life. So cow's milk is one of my problems, has been since I was born. It was interesting being the only child in an entire elementary school that didn't get the milk break or milk with my lunch. So I guess they thought I was an oddity, but my grandmother read up on everything, so we knew that. So then they provided me with orange juice on occasion, which guess what? Gave me hives. So it's interesting to know where our genetic weakness lies. But then again, we have epigenetics coming to the forefront now. So that means we have a big area of control in the fact that it's what we eat, when we eat it, how we eat it, and what else we put in to neutralize the things that we don't do well with. So allergies are truly something that people can suffer greatly with. And there's different degrees of that. But if a person is continually very ill with allergies, there's things they can do. That shouldn't be the case. They can be lessened or, for the most part, disappear. So the next thing is eggs, and that usually has to do with the protein. Tree nuts, pecans, different nuts. It's interesting that in children who have a lot of trouble, more attention deficit and different things, it's closely associated with dairy for some reason. But at any rate, if you have it, it's a problem. So you have to be careful with it. Peanuts, a whole different story. That can actually be deadly for some people. And why is that? Mainly, it has to do with the aflatoxin, as we heard from Finn. Mold is actually on peanuts, and peanuts is not in the category of tree nuts because peanuts are a legume. And you know, years ago, that blood diet, or what was it, blood type diet or whatever, it showed that a lot of people are genetically not inclined to tolerate legumes. And so peanuts are in that category. But recently, they're starting to give these children whose life is at risk small amounts to try to build it up. So even that shows that there are ways to gain a little tolerance, because the answer isn't always complete adherence from something, because then you'll go down flat. So it's about, how can I tolerate very small doses and not get sick if I accidentally get it, or if I want to be among those eating it, or if I want to eat at someone's house, you know. So we want to have somewhat of a tolerance to life around us. So it's not about total, you know, staying away from it, unless, of course, it would kill us. Shellfish and fish, interesting. Histamine, that's where this really comes in. Did you know that instant fish is caught, it starts decaying pronto, and that's where the histamine develops. And so, but an interesting fact is, same with plants. Did you know they have histamine? I didn't really know that till I was doing a lot more research on this topic. And so there are plants that are higher in histamine. Now, another few points to give for us, for those who are eating seasonally, the fresher the fruit and vegetable, the less histamine. If something is frozen immediately when it's harvested, almost histamine free. So we can see the need to eat as fresh and clean and soon as possible. Now, a positive thing is histamine, while it builds up in the body, it doesn't necessarily go away. Of course, as more we stay away from things that aggravate it, but still, like I said, we are getting histamine. So a good way to do this is to go on a histamine-free diet. And that's not as easy as it sounds, because maybe, yeah, we could stay away from fish, but hey, don't take away my avocados. Did you know avocados are high in histamine? I need guacamole. So it's not as easy as one might think, but it could be extremely helpful to those who are still suffering. And this isn't a forever thing. It's just to reduce the amount of buildup of histamine. And a great way to do that is a abstinence type cleanse for at least 10 days, and then gradually add things back. So you might want to mark your calendars for the fall, because I believe Finn is going to do another cleanse, and that would be a great time to reduce, add that to the protocol perhaps. So pay attention to when that's coming around again. Now, wheat, most people have become aware of that. The gluten, very high histamine producing, and it's also due to the processing since 1992. So to varying degrees, people are so-called allergic to gluten, some much more so. So we want to pick and choose on that and to stay away a little bit. And then corn. But look at these things. These are all things that are very common. So I think everyone is aware of the canary and the mine. When well, in Arizona, there's a lot of mines, so maybe not everyone's familiar, but they would take a canary down and send it in to the cavern. And if it was able to come out, they felt it was safe if it stayed alive. Now, obviously, a human could tolerate much more toxic gas than a canary. But the point being, if the canary couldn't tolerate it, it would eventually affect the men, women working in the mine. And so you might be looking at that and say, hey, I'm okay. However, the very fact that these things produce such a reaction into our friends, our sensitive canary friends, shows that they should also be limited in our case, or looked at scrutinizingly. That's a new word. So what I think it is, be sure if you're going to have some cheese or some different, corn. Now, corn chips, that's my weakness, not so much just the corn itself. So you have to pick and choose. When you're going to eat it, make sure it's good, but don't do it regularly, which brings in, how do we control? One is the pulse test to see if you truly are allergic to something. And our last year's video helped with that, and Mac is promising to load that with this. So there's a little bit more information on how to do the pulse test. There's also the rotation diet, which is a good method for everybody, regardless of your health. And that is not eating the same of these foods for 4 days in between. It takes 4 days at least to clear from the body. And that way you won't have a buildup, particularly if you're somewhat inclined to allergies or had them in the past. So those things are really helpful. So what can we eat? Well, up your plant points, plants and fruits and vegetables, high quality, stay away from the processed foods. So what do we have to offer? We have New Plus. And that is like, some people say manna, some people say, like mother's milk, but the wonderful thing about it, it's got the variety, over 26 different vegetables. It has koi fruit, which is one of the 2 most nutritious foods available on the planet. And this can pinch hit for some of what the value of even our fruits and vegetables lack today. So that's a fabulous product. And then we have dandelion root. My goodness. Dandelion puts out the flame in inflammation. It is a neutralizer. And it's like gold, I tell you what, because people who are allergic, their sinus membranes, mucous membranes, their digestive tract, the whole digestive tract is inflamed. That's why it overreacts. It doesn't respond correctly. Dandelion is a neutralizer. Does all sorts of things, helps with pain, does many things. It helps, it acts as a natural diuretic, not dangerous. Gets rid of that excess water that is produced as the body's trying to soften the blow of what we've eaten, too much salt, different things. So dandelion root is a must. And I'm telling you what, it was so interesting to me when I first was in Sunrider. I ordered some herbs from another company that I formerly did. And one day I was out of dandelion and I decided to, I'll try Sunrider's dandelion. Because one thing that irritated me by the company I was ordering from, they charged different prices for potency, like 3 times concentration, you paid this, 6 times you paid that, 9 times. And I thought, it was kind of tricky. Which concentration do I need? And then I ordered dandelion from Sunrider, and man, it beat all of the concentrations. And I was sold on everything from there on. It was like, because initially I was trying to find out what product wasn't as good. Unfortunately, and fortunately, all of them were better than anything I had ever used, and I could feel the difference. So we have to me, that's a daily use product. And then of course, Finn did such a good job with all the things that can be outside the fruit. Our plants, we need fruit and vegetable rinse. It really kind of spoils you for restaurant food, or even going to a friend's house. Sometimes you want to sneak your fruit and vegetable rinse sometimes, but it's such a wonderful thing to have because it naturally cleans off. In organic vegetables, it cleans off all the animal residue or dirty pickers' hands if they did, someone who had a cold and they were harvesting the plant, all those things, just natural contaminants you have to remove from organic. And then the inorganic, which we all are forced to buy at times, it helps remove the pesticide and wax externally. So it's a fabulous thing. You don't rinse it off, and oh my goodness, don't go anywhere without it, because you can even sneak a bit with a little bit of water in your old Vita spray spritzers and spritz stuff if you feel motivated to do that. So it's a fabulous product to have. So all of these things contribute to us feeling better. People can improve their allergies or actually even leave them behind. So I encourage everyone to give some of these suggestions a try and to look further into this. Increase the fiber, improve your gut, because it's all about your gut. And now we also know it's about our immune system. So Finn, please share some more information on that for us.
Judy, that was fantastic and great segue, because I was going to say the same thing. Even with our immune system, digestion is key. For good health, digestion is the foundation. And what happens is if our digestion is off, inflammation or not producing enough enzymes or not having the good bacteria, all those things, guess what? Our immune system then has to kick in and start doing some of the digesting. So then that's when we start to feel run down, because now the immune system is focused on digesting rather than doing what it needs to do, which is protecting and reinforcing. And so, yeah, I love what you said. Definitely mono diet, take some things out, gradually add things in just to see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And another thing too, and I think I'd like to do a call just on this at some point, is just also our mindset, because guess what? Our thoughts can make us sick. So if I'm already saying, oh, spring is coming, I'm going to have bad allergies, you're already setting yourself up for potentially having, those symptoms. So there's ways of, just reinforcing a strong mindset to help support the body, but that's for another call. So we've got one of our main immune formulas, Cheryl talked about quinine, which nourishes all the organ systems together in balance. And then we can pick and choose in Chinese medicine. We have different organ systems that correlate with different seasons. As we know, we've been talking about the liver and liver gallbladder, and that's definitely the immune system. So we're just coming to the end of wood season now. And so the wood element, alpha 20C, is the wood element in the quinine formula. And so alpha 20C relates to T cells. So these are our major immune fighters. They're the cells that, if anything, they are the hardcore martial artists. They're the hardcore soldiers, and they go out, anything that shouldn't be there, they attack. And again, because of some of our food choices, what we think we're eating as food, the body doesn't recognize it as food. So then it'll go into attack mode because it sees it as something foreign. So this again is where we're, looking at man-made things, the GMO, the isolates, the different pesticides and things that are on our food products that we might not really be aware of, but I'm hoping more people are becoming more and more aware of the necessity to read labels, wash with the fruit and veggie rinse, because our fruit and veggie rinse takes care of everything, makes your food taste better, but also just helps the immune system by removing that before it goes into the body. We want to support our bodies as much as we can, so that the immune system can then do what it's meant to do. And that is, rest and be on alert. And then when it's a true invader, something that's, a virus, a bacteria or something, it can go in and take care of it. And we don't even know, like, we're so healthy, we don't even know it's killed that bacteria or virus because we still feel good. That's ideal. Citric C, this is our chewable vitamin C. Vitamin C is so important for just health. Bottom line, it helps our body produce better proteins. It again helps with the immune system. We can't survive without vitamin C. And you probably remember history class and how the sailors needed to have limes, right? That's why they call them limeys for this vitamin C, so that they didn't get rickets. So again, for bone development. So vitamin C is really important. But unfortunately, again, I would say the majority of vitamin C supplements out there are isolate. So again, it's a chemical, the body doesn't recognize it. And 2, very cheap ingredients. Most vitamin C on the market is GMO corn. So again, you think you're doing something better for yourself, you're being healthy, you're going to that health food store, you're taking, you're getting a vitamin C supplement, but you're actually putting more strain and stress once again on your immune system. Sunrider uses only whole foods. They use rose hips because it's super high in vitamin C. Plus there's real citrus in it. They taste delicious. So it's great for the whole family. And again, it's like you're eating the whole orange. That tablet, even though it's in a tablet form, it's still in its whole food state. There is no isolate component to it. So, and as Judy said, you will notice, quite quickly when you start incorporating Sunrider foods into your daily habits, you will notice. And if you don't, stop taking them for a little bit, as some of us have had to do over the last year or so. And then we really notice how much we miss them. So it is a journey. I recommend, don't take, the panel's word for it. You need to experiment for yourself, as we all have on this panel. We've all done our own research, our taste testing and trying things for ourselves. And that's what's brought us here, to knowing how amazing Sunrider is. And so, yeah, I think that's all I have for today.
Absolutely. Well, Dolphin, thank you. Tim, Cheryl, Judy, fantastic presentation, you guys. Really appreciate everything that was shared. I hope we brought value to the people that are watching this presentation. That was certainly our intent. And as Judy mentioned, I will be publishing last year's call as well, just to give a little bit more detail on the pulse testing and some of the other things that Judy had talked about. And again, folks, I just want to start by, again, thanking the panel one more time for excellent presentation, great information. Thank you, the audience, for listening to this call and for joining us on this journey. And we're very excited about what we'll be bringing to you for this next season of summer, where we'll be talking about the fire element, the endocrine system, our hearts, our small intestine, and the emotions of joy and sorrow. So we'll look forward to bringing you more information around the fire element in the summertime season as we move forward. And I guess until then, any last comments, panel? Just want to say goodbye to everybody, or any last things before we close the call down today?
Just want to thank you, Mac, for this wonderful presentation, and all the people that spoke today. I learned so much every single time I'm on these calls.
You
Thank
and me both, Cheryl. I love going back
Likewise.
and listening to them again. Yeah, and Tim, Finn, Judy, absolutely great, you guys. Well, fabulous. Thank you, everybody. So appreciate your time. Let's go ahead and we will talk to you next time. Thanks, everybody.
I know.
Okay. Done. Interestingly, I think I
You're
recorded.
still
the-
recording.
Am I?